Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read you a very important statement from President Trump. This is exactly why any conviction will be overturned, and while there'll almost certainly be a mistrial, there won't be a conviction that is not overturned, or there will be a mistrial. There's no way that Trump is found guilty forever of owning a document that the Department of Justice doesn't have, that he claims doesn't exist. Okay? The most glaring part of the indictment is that he was waving a classified document at people who have no security clearance and saying that he could have declassified, but he didn't, thus showing intent. Because, Madam Secretary, she didn't have intent. She didn't know, according to the Honorable James Comey, that siphoning classified data for 4 years onto unencrypted at one point servers from secure government locations in the U.S. government on outside the U.S. government, there was no intent there. So the Honorable James Comey said, no, there's no intent. Of course there was intent in owning servers. The whole planet knows the double standard it's obscene. But I think that Hillary will be the 24 nominee. I can't imagine the Clintons just allowing mashed potato brains to try and go 2 terms. But anyway, quote, Brett, there was no document, Trump insisted. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about this and other things. And it may have been held up or may not. That was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. There were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles. When Barrett referred again to the fact, and this is a Rolling Stone article, there is no fact of the recording laid out. We haven't heard of a recording. Again, you indict Trump in public opinion. The Washington Post misquoted him and then retracted a quote. He's been accused of saying things he never said before. Numerous times. Okay? I mean, numerous times. They never quote him accurately, and there was supposed to have been a transcript that the Washington Post published from a Georgia call 2 years ago. That was not the accurate quote. They actually created and fabricated quotes. And then they retracted that and said, well, you know what? That was according to a source. So there's no quote. There's no recording that says that he has a classified document and that he's waving it around. Just because it's within the indictment, what does that mean? He's being indicted by people who despise him, who just want him out of 24. There's even a plea deal for him not to run again. I mean, could you imagine the tables turn? But here, when Bear referred, and this is a Rolling Stone article, when Bear referred again to the fact that the recording laid out, there's no fact, laid out in the indictment, Trump said, presumably of the prosecutors, quote, these are very dishonest people. These are suggesting that they could be, that they could be adding, and this is also very interesting, stuffing the boxes with incriminating material. Wow. So, hit subscribe to this channel right now because you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where there's no document, okay? There is no document. They are indicting, or they are trying to send him to prison for the rest of his life for no document. We had servers. There were definitely servers siphoning classified data from secure government locations, from government servers. If you're a wonderful, highly educated, morally superior liberal Democrat, okay, I even want you to subscribe to this channel. But can you answer this question? If you think Trump should go to prison for the rest of his life, do you think then Clinton shouldn't have been indicted and that's just fine? That's just okay? The double standard is just fine because it works out in your favor? Can you explain, highly educated, morally superior liberal Democrat, how for 4 years you can have computer servers outside the United States government working completely independently from the U.S. government computers and servers, siphoning or receiving or transferring, being able to have transferred top secret and classified data from government departments onto servers outside the United States government. How on earth is that possible? Do any morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats have an answer to that? Of course they don't. They don't care. It's but her emails, and a lot of people out there like the simplest rebuttal because they're not really interested in politics. It's tribalism, okay? I can never be accused of that, and I'll tell you why. When I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, my writing, hundreds of thousands of people read just each article that I wrote in many of those publications 5 years ago. Okay? No, more than that. Going on 2015, 2016. So more than that. Okay? So I used to write a lot, and the writing was very popular, and people would read it, and they said I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet. So I thought that Bernie Sanders would would change a very, very corrupt system. Okay? I didn't realize that Bernie Sanders was part of that system, and that Trump, we had record low poverty with Trump. So there's the correlation. If you're on the left, you care about poverty. Well, we had record low poverty with Trump. We had record highs in household median income. Poverty is up for every demographic under Biden since Trump left office, and also since 2019 when we hit record low poverty. Real wages were up under Trump. They're down under Biden. Okay? We have a never-ending military conflict in Europe. We didn't with Trump. There's zero emphasis to bring home Americans from never-ending military conflict and counterinsurgency quagmires. We have that with Trump. 2 theaters of conflict, or actually more, that Trump wanted to bring Americans home from. The Doha Agreement was negotiated by Trump. He's the less militant, less hawkish. Okay? Bernie Sanders, cheated by the Democratic Party, says nothing, then helps create a new Cold War and presides over... You had record low poverty that Bernie Sanders didn't even address, because that is the lifeblood of the racket that AOC and Bernie and Elizabeth Warren. Oh, working class. They were doing better under Trump. Only the greatest imbeciles on the planet think that Trump abandoned the working class. I've heard that nonsense from people. We had record low poverty, record highs in household median income with Trump. And don't say what happened with President Obama. It didn't happen with a Democrat called Biden. And what do you think President Obama would have engaged in tax cuts? His policies worked. You might not have liked them, but his policies worked. Anyway, why am I bringing this up? The point is, he is a huge obstacle to a very corrupt system. Don't think that Bernie Sanders or AOC, these people are like really fighting a system. Okay, if they're part of it, if they were in any way, shape, or form a threat to a very corrupt system, they too would have been indicted. In fact, the Bureau and others for a second were investigating Sanders, and then that went away because he fell in line and played ball. But see, you have a less militant and, in terms of the economy, a much better president in terms of the economy. He's less militant. He's less hawkish. He doesn't want endless military quagmires. And we had a great economy with him. Terrible for the system. Terrible for the system. The system is functioning just fine now without having tried to negotiate a peace deal a year ago. Okay? Democrats would much rather have a little icon and symbol near their Twitter profile than prevent endless military conflict and wars. And we see that in Europe. Trump, very bad for a very corrupt system. Okay? That's why you have all of media. That's why they're going after him. But, and you have 3, they can get 2 indictments, doing a 3rd with January, a 5th or 6th or 7th. You can indict him 50 times. He'll still get 60 to 70 plus million, almost half the electorate. Because everybody knows what's going on. They can't find the document. And that's it. They just can't find the document. So good luck trying to indict him. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. If there's no document, if the document doesn't exist, and one of my amazing A viewer said this: if the document doesn't exist, you must acquit.